make a to-do list, and hell, put 3 or 4 things on there that you can check off right away. And then the third thing, high impact moves. Okay. What are some things that you can do that might take a little more time, a little beyond 5 minutes, but you know that they'll create an impact down the road? Launching an ad campaign. Perfect example. Hell, hiring or firing somebody. Put that ad out on Indeed, or man, have that hard conversation that you have to let somebody go. That is a high impact move, and it's something you know needs to be done. Literally just make one big decision. So one of the things that I do every single day when I start my day is I write down a list of 3 things that I need to do that day. So I've got, what do they say, 16 waking hours. If I accomplish 3 things that day, they might be big things, they might be little things, but those are 3 things that I can do. So welcome to DFW Grit. I'm Dr. James Taylor, and I'm your host, and this is more than just a podcast. We dive into the stories of the movers, the shakers, the small business owners, the entrepreneurs, right here in the DFW Metroplex. This is your home for authentic, real stories that prove what happens when you don't back down. Let's get to work. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back to another episode of DFW Grit. As always, I am your host, Dr. James Taylor. Today we're going to get active. Ooh, that's a good word. I was going to say personal, but it's not deep like that. It really isn't. It's personal, but again, yeah, we're going to get active because I want you to get something from this, and I feel like man, we're all in this together, right? No, we're all going through the same stuff, though, in some way, shape, or form. We are absolutely, positively going through the same thing, provided the underlying cause is, or the underlying goal is affluence. The underlying goal is advancement, is abundance. If you're trying to do better, if you're trying to get better, if you're trying to be better, we're all going to be going through the same stuff here. So what I want to do, because I'm a bit in this right now, I want to talk about what to do when you don't know what to do, but at the same time, you know what to do, right? Okay, so where are you? You're in this certain stage in life, a certain point in your career, in your business, in your relationships, and you are here and you want to get here. For those of you listening, you're, let's say, mid-level and you want to go above, and you know all the things that you need to do, so much so that you have a seemingly never-ending to-do list. And what do? You look at all the stuff that you have to do that you know needs to get done, and you don't know where to start. Now, it's the overwhelm that comes from knowing that you have so much stuff to do. You know the amount of things that you could be doing, but you don't know how to do them. Speaking personally, I get caught up in efficiency, which is kind of backwards. It's kind of backwards. It's hypocritical in a sense. I have all the stuff that I know I need to do, and I want to do the most efficient thing first. I want to do the thing that gets results first, but I don't know what that is, right? So I've got this whole list of stuff to do. I want to be efficient. I want to get results. A perfect example is from my chiropractic office. I used to go for what they called high volume, 300, 400, 500 people a week, help as many people as I can, which is not a bad thing to go for, but it is exhausting. And so I made the conscious decision within the last year and a half to cut back on the amount of people I see and to increase the quality of the people I see. That's not to say that the people that I saw in the past didn't have high quality, but they weren't my ideal patient. Okay. Again, I'm here to help everybody, but I'm not for everybody. And even though I'm not for everybody, I would still help the people that I am not for. Like you ever meet somebody and you're like, yeah, they're all right. I mean, I wouldn't hang out with them outside of, this office function or something like that, or I wouldn't hang out with them outside of work. But yeah, they're fine. From a business standpoint, from a patient standpoint, it's literally the same thing. I can help you better if you like me, if we would get along. If you don't like me that much, then I can't help you as good as somebody that you would like more. And the same thing, you flip it around from the patient doctor or the doctor patient standpoint. If I'm not a fan of you, I will inherently not give you my best. It's not that I don't want to. It's not that that's not my desire, but I mean, it's human nature. You will do better for people that you like and that like you in return. So what I did over the past year and a half is I had made a conscious effort to serve more people that I like that like me. And so when I was seeing 350 people in a week, when I got rid of the people that didn't that I couldn't serve as well as they deserve to be served, the number of people that I helped went down. So in looking at that, how do I help more people that like what I like and do what I do and things like that? And so I changed the way that my business works. And in so doing, I got this huge list of things that I need to do to help and to attract more people that I could help better. But the thing is, when I'm looking at this list of stuff that I need to do, it's literally like, what do I want to do? I'm starting a bonfire, but I become paralyzed by the option of, do I start this with a match, with a lighter, or with a flamethrower? And it really just comes out like, who cares? Like, I need to get the fire going. And this can be applied to a whole bunch of stuff outside of me. Odds are this can be applied to a whole bunch of stuff that you are probably currently going through, right? So you want to start a bonfire, but you don't know what implement to use to actually get the fire started. So why do we feel stuck? It's the illusion of making the perfect first step. And it's literally it's a lie because you tell yourself, oh, well, if it's not the most effective thing to do, it'll be a waste of time. And when I say you, I mean me. Like I have this conversation with myself relatively routinely. I want to do the most effective thing first. And if it's not effective, if it's not as efficient as possible, then I'm just wasting time. But it is. It's just it's a straight up lie. It's a lie to ourselves. It's a act of procrastination. It's like looking at a puzzle and you try to solve the whole thing in your head before you find two pieces that just fit together. Because literally, what is that? You find two pieces that fit together. You start with the corner or something like that. That's the thing getting started. But what do? We sit there and we look at all the pieces laid out on the table. Not a single one of them is combined, and we try to solve the whole damn thing in our head. And a little mantra that I've been either repeating to myself or reminding myself of throughout this process, throughout this change in how I conduct business, is done is better than perfect. I heard this from Lacey Book. I'm sure you guys have heard something like it time and time again in one way, shape, or form. But it really is done is better than perfect because clarity comes from action. Clarity doesn't come from study. Clarity comes from action. So the brutal truth of this whole thing is, and this is hard to, for me personally, to wrap my head around, is most first steps, they don't matter. Your first step doesn't matter. Now it doesn't matter in that with the end goal in mind. Your first step does matter in that you got to take it. But whatever you start to do, that first step doesn't matter as much as the fact that you're just taking the first step. They say 80% of your results comes from 20% of your actions. But the thing is, you don't know which actions those are until you start. So that's the whole thing. Like it is, whether some proverb or something, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And you're sitting there, I'm sitting there concerned with, do I start with my right foot or my left foot? And what happens? And you just sat there with both feet planted in the ground and you don't move when literally all you need to do is just take that first step. On a past episode, Jara Hutchins, fantastic episode, one of the earlier ones, back when this thing was still called Fueled by Spite. But she said, you'll never have all the answers before you start. Those who win are the ones who just start anyway. Just start doing something because the general, premise is, as long as your first step is forward, that's a perfect first step, regardless of if it's the right foot or the left foot, or hell, if you fall forward and your first step is actually a step with your hand, don't ask, what's the most effective thing I can do? Because that's, again, personally, that's where I get caught up. What's the most effective thing that I can do? What's the most efficient thing that I can do? What's the thing that I can do that will give me the greatest results? And then what do? I sit there and I agonize over whatever that thing is. Don't ask yourself, what's the most effective thing I can do? Just ask and do, what's the simplest action I can take right now? Because that's forward. That gets the whole process started. And the process literally is just move. Movement creates momentum. The first step doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, it just has to be forward. The more you move, the clearer the path will get. It's, maybe this is just an episode in cliches, but the teacher comes when the student is ready, kind of thing. The path reveals itself once you start along the path. Same thing. You're going through this is just the cartoon bubble in my head. You're on a path through the woods. There's all sorts of trees and stuff in the way. You can see the path kind of diverting to the left and diverting to the right, and all of a sudden you can't see the end of the path. And everyone's like, well, I'm looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. Well, if there's a curve in the tunnel, you can't see the light at the end of it. What if the light at the end of the tunnel is a big fire? Well, then you'll cross that bridge when you get to it. So the more you move, the more action you take, the more of the process will be revealed to you as you go along. So how do we take that first step? That's a good question. It's as easy as it is difficult. So what I did here is I came up with these task triggers. Okay. So chiropractor, I see patients on a schedule, and more often than not, the patients don't, well, maybe not more often, whatever. Patients don't always follow their schedule. Your appointment's at 10:30, you show up at 10. Your appointment's at 10:30, you show up at 11:45. So I'm a chiropractor and a businessman concurrently at the same time. When you are here, I am James Taylor, the chiropractor, and my goal and my vision and my to-do list comes with you. Okay, so I am presented with a thing to fix, i.e., your spine. And then I do that while you are here in front of me. When you're not here, before you come, I have to have a plan on what to do when you get here. And I have to know what your x-rays are and what your exam was like. And then with the adjustment and the appointment as it proceeds, I have to have a plan for you after you leave here. I have to give you something to do, to take home, something like that. But between these visits, I have to be James Taylor, the businessman. So what I have developed is I've developed tasks that I can do between patients, tasks that I can do between patients if I have a little bit longer time, and tasks that I can do outside of patient hours. So this is where the action comes in. So what you can do when you get to these points of being stuck, because for all intents and purposes, when you're here, my mind is on you, as it should be. But before you show up, I'm doing something else. And then I have to take my mind, my attention, and my perspective away from that something else and put it on you, because I'm the doctor, right? That's what I should be doing. So you leave, and I have to shift my frame of mind back to what it was that I was doing. If you are anything like me, you're like, what the hell was I doing? How often have you, I don't have it in front of me here. How often have you, oh, I got to go to my phone to get something. I need to respond to this text, go back to this email. There was a note on there that I was going to reference. You pick up your phone, and God forbid if the thing you're looking for is on Facebook or Instagram or any kind of social media, you open up that app, and all of a sudden you're doom scrolling. You're like, what the hell did I pick this thing up for? It's that same kind of thing where I'm in the middle of doing something for Aspire Chiropractic, the office. Then you come in here, and I need to be Dr. Taylor at Aspire Chiropractic for you. And then I help you as I should. And then you leave. And now it's like, okay, what was that office thing that I was doing? So here's basically some task triggers that I've developed for myself. Number one, the no-brainer tasks. These are the things that you should do. Okay. These are things like, I just need, and it'll be super quick. Hey, I just got to respond to this text. I got to shoot that email back. I need to create I need to create an outline. These are just no brainer, quick tasks of things you should do. You know what? Even outside the office, got to work out. It's something I know I should do. So let's just do that thing because I know it needs to be done. These are the no-brainer task triggers. The next one, quick wins. What are some things that you can do quick and fast just to get the ball rolling, just to get that momentum moving forward? Things that take less than 5 minutes, but make you feel productive. Again, replying to that text message. Heck, getting an outline for a project done. Hey, here's the 10,000 foot view of this thing that I'm working on. Or hell, even just make a checklist. Now, that can fall into a trap, just making a to-do list just for the simple act of making a to-do list. But also at the same time, there's where that quick win can come in. Make a to-do list and hell, put 3 or 4 things on there that you can check off right away. And then the third thing, high impact moves. Okay. What are some things that you can do that might take a little more time, a little beyond 5 minutes, but you know that they'll create an impact down the road? Launching an ad campaign. Perfect example. Hell, hiring or firing somebody. Put that ad out on Indeed, or man, have that hard conversation that you have to let somebody go. That is a high impact move, and it's something you know needs to be done. Literally, just make one big decision. So one of the things that I do every single day when I start my day is I write down a list of 3 things that I need to do that day. So I've got, what do they say? 16 waking hours. If I accomplish 3 things that day, they might be big things, they might be little things, but those are 3 things that I can do. So these task triggers are, again, the no-brainers, the quick wins, and then the high impact moves. If you don't know where to start, knocking out just a couple of these quick wins, that will get that momentum going. Just something. Hell, well, I showed up here. I knew I was going to create a podcast episode. It was something I had to do. So what was the first thing I did? I hopped on Chat GPT and I was like, hey, give me some ideas for a podcast episode. That's a quick win. That got the ball rolling, because naturally, when you do these little things, you get these quick wins that will lead itself into the bigger projects. That will create that momentum of you going forward. Now, there's a rule that you need to follow with all of this. You need to make it obvious. If you have to think too much, you're not going to do anything. That's how this whole thing started. We've got all this stuff that we have to do. But if you have to think too much about how to get started, you won't do anything. So you need to have, at the bare minimum, that first step needs to be obvious. Make it obvious. A quick win is an obvious thing that you can do. So how do we fix it? We set up these default actions. So when you're stuck, you already have a plan. One of my default actions between patients is 2 things. I got 2 things that I can jump into and make progress on right away. Number 1, it's calling patients I haven't seen for a while. And number 2, it's writing letters to patients that I haven't seen for a while. I've got a fat stack of blank postcards. And if I've got time between patients and I can't think of what I should be doing in the moment, then that's what I do. I make a couple of phone calls and I send a couple of postcards out, because it gets the ball rolling. Some other things that you can do if you're unsure about your business stuff, just check your numbers. Where are your numbers at? So from a chiropractic standpoint, I'm looking at patient volume. I'm looking at collections. I'm looking at PI patients. Heck, attorneys that we need to contact. These are things that, just, if you're unsure what to do, just look at your numbers and something will probably jump out at you. If you're stuck on a project, bring in another set of eyes, because number 1, you shouldn't be the only one working on a project. You should have other people that you can delegate the tasks to. So if you're stuck on a project, bring in that other person, bring in that other set of eyes. Heck, if you're supposed to write something, pop on a Chat GPT. Like, hey, give me 3 ideas, 5 ideas of stuff to write about for enter subject here. Literally, just, if you make your decisions ahead of time, then when you're lost, you're still moving. So yeah, those are my decisions that I make ahead of time. Between patients, call patients. Between patients, write letters to patients. So, I mean, in closing, if you're waiting to feel 100% confident in whatever it is that you're doing before you get started, it's like waiting to get abs before you go to the gym. Now, I talk about going to the gym a lot. I'll tell you right now, I don't have abs. I've been told that they're in there. Maybe one day I'll see them. So this week, do me a favor. When you catch yourself overthinking, I just want you to pick any small task, any small action, something that you can do immediately, and then do that thing. So heck, even before that, take 5 minutes and be like, hey, what are these little things that I can do really quick? And they have to be simple. Because the thing is, the simple things that are easy to do are also the simple things not to do. But if you just have 3 to 5 things that you can do that you know you need to do, and you can do them whenever your schedule allows, do those things. So this week, when you find yourself overthinking, pick any small task, do it immediately. Don't delay. Don't think about it. Just do it. And then when you do it, I want you to do me a favor. Shoot me a DM or tag me in a comment or something. Just let me know that you did it. Hey, I wrote a letter to a patient. Hey, I responded to this text I received 3 days ago. Tag me, shoot me a DM, and it's awesome. Let's get unstuck together, because clarity in this whole thing will come from action. And if nothing else, you will learn more, possibly by accident, here than you will elsewhere by design. So, as always, guys, like, share, follow. Thanks for watching another episode, listening to another episode, taking in one way, shape, or form, another episode of DFW Grit. As always, you will learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design. And prior to this whole thing getting kicked off, before this thing started, you were in one of two places. Either A, you're uninformed, or B, you might have just been kind of an idiot. But at least right now, with this plan of action that I've laid out before you, you can no longer say that you were uninformed. You guys have a great rest of your day. Have an awesome week. Like I said, come up with a couple of things, just something that you can do with so very little thought, so very little effort and energy, but it's something that you can do to get the ball rolling. When you do it, tag me in it. Shoot me a DM. Let me know that you did it. Great job. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. I'll see you on the next one.